everybody, and welcome back to another episode with Danny Man Talks Wrestling. I'm your host, Danny Man. The first ever Wrestlepalooza is in the books. What did we think? Did we love it? Did we hate it? There's only one way to find out. Let's figure it out and talk about it. First match of the night, no surprise. I feel like it was everywhere. They had already mentioned that the opening match would be John Cena against Brock Lesnar. If you saw my predictions video, right, I figured it would be a win on John Cena, right? I thought it was an easy prediction to make. John Cena would get the win. They have that whole thing where like he's only ever beaten Brock Lesnar at PLEs twice, and once was by DQ. I was like, they're just going to give him the win, just to get some of those wins back. I could not be more wrong. Brock Lesnar came out and just destroyed John Cena. I think he hit him with like 5 F5s during the match and a few after. He just completely buried John Cena. I don't know what this means. I guess it means that they're going to run it back at Crown Jewel in Australia. I mean, John Cena is scheduled to have a match in Australia, but he doesn't have any appearances between now and then, so there's no way for them to build a match. I feel like they're just gonna announce it one day and be like, John Cena, or maybe on social media, John Cena will post and be like, I want my rematch, and then I feel like that's gonna be one of the ways to get that win back for John Cena. So I think that's what they were trying to set up here, with just 2 easy matches back to back for John Cena. We'll see. One of the cool things that did happen during this match, though, was as they're announcing, the combatants, they're like, they talk about like introducing first, the never seen 17, the last world champion, blah 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 blah, John Cena. Great, perfect. And then as I forget the announcer's name, but as she's about to announce Brock Lesnar, you know, what do you hear? You hear, ladies and gentlemen, then boom, Paul Heyman. Is he back with Brock Lesnar? I don't think so. I think this was just a little one-off thing, but he did the announcing for Brock Lesnar, which was pretty cool. I mean, I have my feelings about Brock Lesnar, but I think that part was pretty cool. I enjoyed it. It's definitely just meant to like hit those nostalgia feels. I don't think Brock Lesnar's in the vision now or anything. But yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I think it was a nice little pop of nostalgia there to the ruthless aggression era. It was great. One of the things, I think, one of the signs that I saw in the crowd that completely summarized the way I feel about Brock Lesnar is, all it said was, we all know, or no, it said, he shouldn't be here, and we all know why. I guess if you know, you know. The match after this was, it was the Usos versus Braun versus The Vision, right? Before the match started, I think in the pre-show, they mentioned that LA Knight was actually going to be the guest referee. So, of course, right, just like in my predictions, I was like, oh, there's that LA Knight factor. There's definitely going to be shenanigans. There actually weren't any shenanigans. I think, like, if you consider, LA Knight letting the Usos basically use weapons and The Vision not, I guess, but like there really wasn't a lot of shenanigans. I thought he would cost the match for Jimmy and Jay because, it felt like he had beef with Jey Uso. But no, I mean, this match was pretty straight through. There's some pretty cool spots. I do feel like they rushed the finish. And I mean, there was a point in the match where Jey Uso was just like bloodied. You can also like kind of hear LA Knight kind of call the match at the end, right? You can kind of hear him tell Braun Breaker, like, it's time for the spear. Just do the spear. So that's why I feel like it was rushed at the end. Like, Jey Uso was pretty bloodied. He had a pretty big gash on his head and was bleeding everywhere. There was blood all over Braun Breaker. There was blood all over LA Knight. I feel like they did kind of just like rush to the finish because of that. Maybe more was supposed to happen. Maybe LA Knight was supposed to get more involved. But yeah, I mean, it was a win for Braun. It was a win for The Vision. I don't know where they go next with this. I don't. I mean, I think it was the right call. I think that The Vision needed a big win in PLEs, right? We're so used to Seth getting the only wins during PLEs that his staple just seemed stable. his group just seemed a little weak by comparison. So I think it was the right call. It was the right call for the Vision to win. Yeah, I mean, great. Like I said, I don't know where they go from here. I feel like they need to go. The Vision needs to go after the tag team champions. Let's take him off of Judgment Day. So maybe in Australia that's what they do, right? Maybe it's the Judgment Day versus the Vision, and the Vision wins it all. But anyway, I mean, this match was fine. Like I said, I felt like there was more. Like there should have been more to it, but I think that injury to Jey Uso kind of made them cut him short. Which, listen, their health comes first before anything, right? So if something felt wrong, if something was wrong, I'm glad they ended it that way. Yeah, glad to see the Vision win for sure. Oh boy, the next match was what we all knew would be the match of the night, and we were not wrong. It was time for Stephanie Vaquer against Io Sky for the women's championship, the one that's on Raw. I forget the name between both of them, but this match was absolutely amazing, man. This match was great. I think the right person won. I mean, Stephanie Vaquer did win at the end with a crazy move. This like twisted moonsault. I forget what they called it. Spinal tap. Sorry, yes, spinal tap. It was great. It was great. I think the ending was amazing. I think the whole match was amazing. Man, I can see these two ladies wrestle for 100 more times and it wouldn't get boring. I think these are the two best in-ring wrestlers that the WWE has right now. Not the two best women, the two best in-ring wrestlers that the WWE has right now. And it shows, man. It shows. Like, they were so above and beyond the rest of the card. Maybe that should have main evented. I don't know. But it definitely... Man, again, I can see these women wrestle for 10 hours a day, every day for the rest of my life. Like, they're just amazing. Maybe not. I mean, that's a little bit of an exaggeration, right? Yeah, Stephanie Vaquer gets the win at the end. Stephanie and Io, showing each other signs of respect. They're kneeling in front of each other in the ring. They like kind of bow to each other, both of them. They shake hands. They hug. I think Io raises Stephanie's hand at one point, and then Io leaves the ring so that Stephanie can have her moment. Where do they go with Stephanie after this? I mean, they don't have to think about it, is the short answer. They did, basically unofficially announce, right, that they're doing the whole Crown Jewel Championship in Perth, Australia also, right? So that's like what they did last year at Crown Jewel in Saudi, when it's champion versus champion, right? And then they wrestle for this fake championship. So it's going to be Stephanie Vaquer against, I guess it wouldn't be against Tiffany, because Tiffany has that triple threat on Friday. So whoever wins that match basically goes on against Stephanie Vaquer at Crown Jewel, which honestly I can see Stephanie wrestle 2 out of 3 of those ladies. I feel like her against Tiffy would be great. I feel like her against Jade, I think she can definitely carry Jade for a lot of that match. I mean, just like the physicality of Jade versus just Stephanie's in ring would just be a great match to like see, like the kind of the two very different styles of wrestlers. But yeah, I mean, they don't need to think about what to do with the women's championship for a while, which is good. Because they often don't know how to book that championship. But I think they have time to let it kind of simmer and see where we go. We have that Crown Jewel match, champion versus champion. Then after that, it's War Games. So they'll probably just stick her in a War Games match. And then, our champion just won't defend her championship for a couple months. And maybe Liv comes back before that. Maybe Rhea challenges her for the title. I don't know. We have time to figure that part out. But for now, I mean, Stephanie, well-deserved. Like I said, the two best wrestlers in ring that exist today in WWE. I don't watch a lot of AEW, so I can't speak, across the board. But definitely the two best female wrestlers, or the two best wrestlers in the WWE for sure. What a great match, man! What a great match. We all knew this was going to be amazing. We were right. We were all wondering, right? What's AJ Lee going to look like when she comes back to the ring after 10 years of not wrestling. Man, she hasn't missed a step. Listen, admittingly, I wasn't watching a lot of wrestling back in 2015 when AJ Lee was, I guess, in her prime. I've definitely seen some matches here and there. I've seen a lot of clips for sure. But man, they put on a match, man. All four of them just put on a really great match. The story throughout the whole match was, it was Seth Rollins versus CM Punk started off the match. And everyone was chanting for AJ Lee. So the story they were telling throughout the match is CM Punk trying to tag AJ Lee, and then Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch in one way or another just stopping that tag from happening so AJ Lee wouldn't come in. Like, it probably took like 3/4 of the match before AJ Lee came in and did some actual wrestling. What a fun match, man. I mean, these four are just amazing wrestlers just across the board, right? I mean, Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch, they've carried this company for a while. They're amazing. And, the four of these people together, they're just so fun to watch, right? Definitely a very different match than the Stephanie Wacker and Io Sky match, but this was also a highlight of the night. Ultimately, CM Punk and AJ Lee get the win, with AJ Lee making Becky Lynch tap out. Just as I called it in my predictions, by the way. I said she would pin her, but tap out works too. So I think the next move is for AJ Lee to challenge for that Intercontinental Championship. I think that is the next move. I think it's going to happen at Crown Jewel. One of the fun things about this match that I definitely wasn't expecting, right, was there was definitely intergender wrestling, right? There was CM Punk put a sharpshooter on Becky Lynch, right? Becky Lynch was definitely, slapping CM Punk all up and down the ring again. Seth Rollins had a couple of moments with AJ Lee too. I can't recall them off the top of my head. He threw her at some point or something. So there's a lot of interaction between the intergender wrestling for sure. Which honestly is very uncommon in WWE. So, I mean, it was great to see because they also did it really well. This was a fun match, man. I think we all knew this would be a fun match. The right people won for sure. Let's see where this goes. Let's book that match. Let's book that match, Triple H. AJ Lee versus Becky Lynch for the Intercontinental Championship. I'm calling it. Before the main event happened, The Undertaker comes out. He comes out in his motorcycle, blah, 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 blah. Everybody's like, what's The Undertaker coming out for? I think a lot of us thought that The Undertaker was going to come out to, read out the attendance numbers. That's kind of what, the Hall of Famers do at these types of shows. He sees Stephanie McMahon in the crowd, and then he has this really weird interaction with Stephanie. He's like, man, I've seen you everywhere. Are you following me? Then he sits next to her, and very early, it's September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May. 7 months before WrestleMania, we've announced our first WWE Hall of Fame inductee for next year, for 2026, and it's Stephanie McMahon. Stephanie McMahon is going into the Hall of Fame. However people want to feel about that, it's what they announced. It was a fun moment, regardless of anything. It was a fun moment. Moving on. Main event for the evening, of course, was Cody Rhodes versus Drew McIntyre. Now, the fact that this main evented, I was ready. I was ready to see something happen. Maybe Randy Orton comes out and punts Cody Rhodes, and then we set up that match, and Randy Orton turns heel on Cody, and oh my God, what is this? Or maybe Cody's the one that turns heel. He grabs a chair and hits Drew McIntyre, and oh my God, what is he doing? Yeah, type of thing. None of that happened. It was like I said, right? Since they're still doing that Crown Jewel Championship at the next PLE, they don't need to set anything up for the champions, I guess. And they definitely didn't. Cody Rhodes wins this match. It was a pretty straightforward match. It was a good match. It wasn't a great match, but it was a good match. It was a fine match. Drew tried to, claymore Cody Rhodes through the table again, just like he did a few weeks back. He misses. His foot goes through it. Then, he plays out this injury. I don't know if it was real. I don't think it was real. I think it was all part of the show. But injured leg, goes into the ring. Cody cutter from the top rope. Then Cody gives him the, what is it, the Rhodes? Crossroads. Cody gives him the Crossroads. Then Cody gives him the Crossroads and pins him. 1, 2, 3. Oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Who's going to come out? Oh, is Randy going to come out? Oh my gosh, Chris Jericho. People are like, oh my god, Chris Jericho's coming back. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. The show went off the air and that was it. I think the reason that they put this at the main event was to send everybody home with like this feel-good moment of Cody Rhodes winning again. Yeah, cool. Fine match, like I said. They don't have to think about what to do with the champions, and it showed. Yeah, fine match, and that was the end of the night. I think the show overall left a lot to be desired. I think, especially with like Triple H being like, oh, you're in for a lot of surprises. We're all just expecting, a couple more things to kind of feed the story, right? A couple of more like shocking moments, maybe some returns. But there wasn't any of that. And I mean, that's fine, I guess, for like a normal B tier PLE, not outside of the top 4. But the way they like talked about the show, it's like we were getting a second WrestleMania, and it just didn't feel like a second WrestleMania. It felt like we were in No Mercy again, or Armageddon, whatever, one of those PLEs, right? It just felt very like, okay, whatever. I mean, that was their first PLE with ESPN. It was short too. It was like 3 hours and change with 5 matches, which I'm not complaining, by the way. I'm totally here for that. It just really felt like there was a lot more that we thought was going to happen, that we wanted to happen, that we needed to happen, that just didn't happen. And that's a shame. That really is a shame, because I think we were all expecting a lot. But anyway, I mean, fine PLE. It was, in terms of PLEs, it was a little bit better than most Monday Night Raws, I guess. I'll give it a 7.4 out of 10. Nothing special, but still a fun night of wrestling. Like I said, that Stephanie Vaquer match and Io Sky definitely carried most of the night, right? If it weren't for that match, we'd be talking about, a 5.2 or whatever. I don't know, these ratings are stupid. They don't matter. They're just me throwing them out there. But that match definitely carried. If you want to go back and look at anything and only want to look at one match, that's the match to see, then followed by, the mixed tag team for sure. The other 3 were okay, whatever. Yeah, those are my thoughts on WrestlePalooza. It was a fun night of wrestling. I hope you all had fun. Next up we have is Crown Jewel in Australia. So we'll see what they do for that. Anyway, thanks for hanging out. Peace.